Hey, babes.
Hello, darling.
Well, we have an amazing guest who we've had interview with us. He is so fantastic. His name is Stirling Cooper. And if you don't follow him already, you should definitely go do that. He is an incredible past past adult star. We're
Yeah.
saying it in a nice way. And male escort. He was a past bull, as he calls it, in the swingers community. And now he's an incredible intimacy dating coach for men and women. He posts awesome stuff on his social media, and he's always on other podcasts too. So we just wanted to give a quick intro to him and just say what an amazing conversation you guys are about to listen to.
Yeah. It's fantastic because if you want to hear about, you know, relationships, dating, sex, I mean, he's the guy to listen to, right? And he also talks to women and to men, which is great.
Yeah, and his just opinions and ideas and experiences are really what make this conversation so exciting, and the way that he speaks about the realities of the way that men are and how to please a woman and all of these amazing questions that we
Yeah.
have, and we wanna talk to a man, obviously, about it, because we know that you guys want us to talk to more men and have those real conversations. So that's what we have done. And he is so amazing. We're very excited for you guys to listen to part one. Welcome to Sharing My Truth with Mel and Susie, the uncensored version, where we bear it all.
We do.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sharing My Truth Pod. You're here with Mel and Susie. Thanks so much for tuning in with us today. Today, we have a very, very special guest, Mr. Stirling Cooper. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We cannot wait to get into it with all of you and answer all of our burning questions. They are burning, super hot. But first, before we get into that, here's a sweet little friendly reminder to just follow us on any of our socials at Share My Truth Pod. You guys can always go to sharemytruth.com where you can email us or send us any questions. Or if you have any questions for Sterling Cooper after the episode, we will pass them along to him and we'll do a part two. We'd love to. And if you go to Share My Truth at Patreon, you can find exclusive content there as well. Sterling, how are you, darling?
I'm fantastic, my dear.
You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
We really appreciate you coming on here today. We're very excited. I know a lot of our audience, who is mostly male, uh, loves to, obviously, they always are asking us to have more male guests on. So we are just so happy that you could be a part of this today. So thanks for
Yeah.
coming on.
Well, it's my pleasure. Look, always
We
happy to give
we
my 2 cents wherever possible.
I love it. Well, no, we're really excited, and I just wanna we wanna start the episode, just have you introduce yourself. If our audience doesn't know who you are, tell them what you got, tell them what, where they can find you as well.
Brilliant. Yeah. So, my background's a bit weird. I used to be let's go back right to the beginning.
Yeah. Mhm.
I was originally a bull in the swinger scene for a number of years, and then I was what you would call a high class male companion to wealthy businesswomen. And then I got out of that and got into the adult film industry. And so for one degree or another, I was, I guess, having sex professionally for like
Uh-huh.
about a decade. And then come 2020, the industry sort of stopped shooting. And I was like, hang on a minute, I need to make some money.
Mm.
And I'd already been working on I'd already kind of started jotting down all of the little like tips and tricks I'd accumulated over the years, like the biohacks, the supplements, like the exercises, like everything I could think of. I just started collecting it into this like manual. And then, yeah, 2020 rolled around and I was like, you know what? Let's put this thing out there. I got asked on a couple of podcasts and it just turned into this thing I do now, which I guess is intimacy coaching, bedroom coaching.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm.
There's not really a good word for it because it's
Yeah.
not like a career anyone else really has. Uh, and so since 2020, I've been teaching primarily men, but now we're teaching women as well the ins and outs of being good in the bedroom and getting your partner off, how to be a good lover, and a bit of like relationship dynamics on top of that, and intersexual dynamics because those two things kind of go really hand in hand. You can't be good in the bedroom with someone if you don't have someone to be good in the bedroom with. So
Yes. Good
you
point.
kind of need
Yep.
to solve that part of the equation as well. Uh, yeah,
Amazing. Well, Um, again, this is exciting because we've never had a past can I say porn star? Is that
You
a
like, it's your channel. You can say whatever you like.
I'm just wondering if that's the right term to call you. Obviously someone who's very experienced.
You could call me
Um,
you can call me a degenerate. You can call me,
Mm,
oh no, we
you
wouldn't go
know,
that far
no,
a
absolutely not.
unless that's what
philanderer.
turns you on.
Well, look,
But
that okay, that's between me and God.
right, exactly. We don't judge here, obviously.
No judgment
None.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, like with the porn background, you've lived a life that is what most, especially men, are fantasizing about. Um, what was the what are the best things about that, and what was the worst thing about that life?
Worst thing about it is the paperwork. I'm telling you,
Okay.
like this
The
Paperwork.
taxes?
so much. Like yeah, well, like we did W-9s and stuff, but there was like model release
Oh, yeah.
forms, consent release forms, like
That's
consent checklists. There was like scripts to go through and shot and like shot lists. So you had to make sure you checked off. There's a lot more. Like there's a lot more. People think it's like a big party, and it's really not a big party. It's a lot of like paperwork and checklists, and it's for the guy a lot of waiting around,
right.
Really?
kind of doing
How do you
nothing.
keep
Because like
yourself hard?
I said, like, well, you don't, you should have wait. You wait. You keep you the if you get to set and you're like ready to go straight away, you're like you're kind of gonna lose your thunder. Like it's gonna get because the day's gonna roll on. You're gonna get tired or whatever, and you're like nothing's happening. So you sort of
Right.
at least my strategy was always to sort of like walk in, like just be friendly and nonchalant and say hi to everybody, and then just chill until like it's like 5 minutes before we're sort of ready for action, and then I get into like game mode, so to speak.
Wow.
Uh, so I guess the thing that people don't expect is that it's more paperwork and more. It's a lot more professional than people
Yeah.
think.
It
You
And
should
know?
as it should be. It's a business.
it's a movie industry. I mean, I never understand why people don't understand that it's entertainment.
Mhm.
Therefore,
Yeah.
just because you're naked, it's like the regular movie industry. I mean, what's the difference? I
It is,
mean,
and the one thing I'll add to it is that it's like you're never gonna get you're not going to like HR for making like a dick joke.
right.
Thank
Like
God.
that's the
Yeah.
fun part. Like everyone, like, you can
Good.
like
Yes.
it is a fun like work environment in that sense. So everyone's like cracking like 'cause you can't take yourself seriously. Like you've got your dick out, you're walking around, So everyone's just like
Okay.
cracking jokes all day. Uh,
Yeah.
so you learn and like from the male perspective, like you learn to well, you obviously learn to be very comfortable in your skin. You
Mhm.
Yeah.
you learn to not really give a shit. It's
Yeah.
pretty hard to like embarrass me. It's pretty hard to like
Yeah.
yeah, like make me blush these days. So there's
But
that.
I think that's a good point you just said about not taking yourself seriously, which is very appealing to women
Mhm.
because then you're not so intensely into yourself. Like you're much more relaxed, which I think is
Yeah.
something we see actually from a lot of the comments. Is
Mm.
something I think it's a younger man thing, but like just understanding just to not take yourself quite so seriously and how attractive that is to women.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? With like, and I'm kind of in this same internet space that you're probably
Mhm.
Mm,
talking about with these comments
yeah.
you're mentioning.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm making an assumption here, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of frustrated guys on the internet now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of guys who are obviously commenting on things anonymously, and they're maybe being a bit their language might be a bit misogynistic. It might be a bit derogatory when especially if they're
Bit, yeah.
commenting on like a woman's channel.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't encourage people to do that, but that same kind of guy is like in my channel as well as yours probably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you don't like. I don't think I've ever commented on like. I'm not joking. I don't think I've ever commented on like a YouTube video. Maybe
Right.
that's if it's a
Me
friend's
neither.
channel, maybe
Yeah.
except for my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the mentality of like the guy who is like who's doing that, he's doing it out of frustration. Like
Mhm.
Mm,
that's not a guy, and you say like you're tying it back to me not caring and not giving a crap and being a bit more like nonchalant about how you carry yourself.
mm,
Every guy I know who is, I guess you could say secure in himself or confident at least in himself, he's not out there trying to like project it onto
yeah.
others through the internet. Like
Yeah.
I cringe every time I read a comment about a guy saying like, "As an alpha male," I'm like, "Oh,
Literally, I can't.
oh,
Yeah.
kill me now!"
Like,
Like, oh.
Yeah.
First
No.
rule of an alpha male, don't fucking call yourself an
I
alpha male.
I I cannot stand that, like, I understand, like, using that language to, like, define, like, categorize people if we're talking about things in context, if we're talking about, like, society or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
But to then go out and, like, call yourself that, I don't know, maybe it's the Australian in me, we just don't do that, like, it's so we have this thing back home in Australia called tall poppy syndrome, and it's kind of the complete opposite of what you have, and you guys are Canadian, but it's the complete
Yeah.
opposite of what we have, in America, where in America, they, like, you kinda pedestalize people in the USA, they pedestalize, like, celebrities and
Yeah.
politicians, and, like, they have, like, a cult of personality thing going on in America.
Yeah.
In Australia, it's like a complete opposite. Like, if you make money, people are like, "Oh, you think you're a big shot now, huh?" Like,
Right.
they try to take you down a peg or
Yeah.
2.
Right.
So
It's like the British mentality. We try and rip you down, build you up, and then rip you down. We're really good at that.
yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Yeah.
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 So then what if kind of just waiting around is the worst part of the porn industry, what's the best part of the porn industry? Is it just fucking a lot of great hot women?
Well, it's probably a third of the time, it's really fun.
Right.
Mm.
Like, a third of the women you'll work as a male talent, and I've talked to other male talent about this before, and it seems to be like a third of the women are awesome. Awesome to work with. You're like, "Why am I getting paid to do this? I do this for free." Like, "She's
Right.
great. Like, we've got awesome chemistry. This is brilliant." And
Yeah.
then, like, there's another third of the women that are working in the industry that are kinda you'd call them, like, professional. They take the job seriously. They're great at what they do. They know the angle. They know where the camera is at all times.
Right.
They're angling themselves
Right.
perfectly, makes my job easy. They're beautiful, they're pretty, they take care of themselves. They're respectful to everyone on set, but they're just not maybe the chemistry isn't quite there. They're a bit too
Mhm.
robotic with it maybe, like, it's sort of
Right.
Bit
it's
cold.
professional. They're
Yeah.
maybe a bit colder,
Yeah.
at least when the camera's off. Like, that
Mhm.
first third of women I talked about, like, when the camera's off, you 2 are, like, making out in the corner because there's just so much chemistry going on.
Yeah.
And then there's that
Nice.
third that are a bit more professional. Those women usually have, like, a husband or a boyfriend at home. That's usually to those women. And then there's, like, the last third, which make the job a bit challenging, and they can be a bit diva-ish, shall we say.
Right.
Um, they're
Wow.
they're, like, kind of
In the
addicted to their
porn
There's
phones.
industry.
gotta be divas in the
Yeah,
porn.
I
Oh, of
guess.
course there is.
'Cause it does is it true that, women get paid more than the men? And this is totally off topic, but is it
Yeah.
true that women get paid more than men
Yeah, about
in the
double.
porn industry?
Like, to start with, like, as a newbie, at least minimum double. Um,
Yeah. So then that makes them very diva-ish. They're
Well,
the
but come on, you're getting penetrated. You better be getting paid more.
yeah,
well,
yeah,
yeah.
they have, like
Well,
they have,
depends at the end
the
of the
way I
day.
like to explain it is, like, imagine, like, a nice sports car, like a really
Mhm.
beautiful, like, Ferrari or a beautiful Lamborghini or something, right? She is like the chassis. She's like the body, like the sleek exterior, the leather
Mhm.
lining, like, the beautiful lines. So that's the woman,
Mhm.
and then the engine under the hood, that's like the guy.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, it ain't running. It's not happening without him. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Right.
what makes it actually work.
Yeah.
Right.
He has the harder job of the 2 because
Right.
he has to get into a certain mental state of mind to even do the job, but
Yeah.
she's what everyone's paying for.
Right.
She
Yeah.
is she is the product that
Yeah.
is being sold to a degree. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
That
kinda
makes
how I
sense.
used to look at it. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
Makes
man.
sense.
I mean, it's really interesting in the way of, women in this world. Did you learn how to please a woman in the porn world, or was that when you were is it a male escort? Is that the right term to say? Yeah.
Yeah, you can call it that,
Yeah.
sure. Uh, it came more like it was sort of like philandering as a young man, uh,
Learning from
combined and then
experience.
yeah, and then getting into, like, the swingers scene for a while, and then getting into, like, the escorting stuff, like, I'd kinda, like, learned the skill set, or at least enough of the skill set prior to
Mhm.
becoming paid to have sex professionally, I guess you could say. And
Mm.
then because the porn side of things, that's the interesting thing is, like, it's not about our pleasure. like on camera, it's nuts. Our pleasure is like if there was a list
Yeah.
of priorities that day, our pleasure is like number 100 out of 100. It's like the last thing they care about. So like because you're doing all kinds of weird positions and turning at certain angles so the camera can see. Because it's all about the camera.
Yeah.
It's all about the viewer's
Mhm.
pleasure. It's not about our pleasure. So
Yeah.
the porn thing was interesting in the sense that like I'm I'm trying to make sure she has a good time as well.
Yeah.
But, um, I have to do it in a way that's good for the camera, so, like, I'm kind of doing it handicapped in a way. So you started to so, like,
Mm.
I already had this sort of base knowledge of, like, obviously women's different erogenous zones and the kinds of things women enjoy and foreplay and ways to get them aroused and all these sort of things. I had all this sort of foundation, and then when you're in porn, you kinda, like all this stuff, but you can't necessarily apply it all the time.
Mhm.
Right.
And so you start to learn again it's like under pressure, you start to learn, like, what's the most effective, what's the biggest bang for your buck thing you can do in, like, this position while you've got, like, your 2 or 3 minutes where you can actually enjoy yourself because the camera's at the right angle. It's like, "Okay, now I'm gonna pull her hair. Now I'm gonna, erotically choke her. Now I'm gonna whisper this thing into her ear," or whatever. Like, you start to learn, like, cool things that are really gonna, like, move the needle more than anything else and make
Right.
sure the 2 of us are having more fun.
So what tell us more about women's pleasure. Like how does a guy know that he's good in bed? Like what is it? How do you make sure that the woman is having most fun all the time?
Well, a lot of women are able to fake a lot of things.
And I'm
So
sure you've seen a lot of faking in porn, as we've
Ev
of
all.
course.
every woman has faked it at some
Yeah,
point
of course. And so
So
for a
there's
myriad of reasons.
yeah.
exactly, for a myriad of reasons. But there's certain things that you just can't fake. So,
Yeah.
for example, like, the clitoris will engorge with blood when a woman is
Yeah.
aroused. You
Yeah.
cannot fake that. That is
Right.
basically like the female version of an erection, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's impossible to fake. Other things that are really, really hard to fake are, like, internal spasms. So things like when a woman is approaching orgasm, not necessarily having an orgasm, but approaching orgasm, like certain like her Kegel muscles will start to like clench uh around your penis like uncontrollably, like involuntarily, and you'll definitely notice like kind of like the pelvic area will
Yeah.
start to like spasm a little bit, and then obviously things like legs shaking can be faked, but
Mhm.
if
It's
it depends
difficult.
though, like, there's certain signals that are way more like 100%, like we said, like clitoral engorgement cannot be faked, and there's things that are, like, harder to fake, like legs shaking and stuff, and then there's things that are super easy to fake, like, just, like, saying, "Oh my god, that feels so good." Like,
Yeah.
easiest thing in the world to fake, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I try to teach guys, and this ties into the question you asked, is that one of the biggest ways to prevent a woman from having an orgasm is to like put pressure on her to finish, put pressure on her to climax. If you I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Like if you know
Yep.
that your man is just like hell
Come
bent,
for me. I hate when they say come for me. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
right, right. You have to use that phrase incredibly sparingly, and
Exactly.
you should only actually use that phrase when you already know she's basically there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
because and I'll segue into a different point for a second here,
Mhm.
because what you're doing there is you're anchoring that phrase, "Come for me," to a certain emotional state that she's feeling. So
Yeah.
let's use this as like an XY axis, right? Let's say like orgasm's here, like she's reached her climax, get my elbow straight. And down here, she's like nowhere near it, right? If you're
Yeah.
as a guy, if you say something like "come for me," like down when she's down here, all you're doing is you're anchoring that phrase to a feeling of like pressure,
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
right? And if she's like, back up here, well, then you're anchoring that phrase to the actual orgasm.
Yeah.
Two completely different
Yeah.
outcomes. One of them
Yeah.
is much more beneficial to you than the other one. So if a guy is like one of the things I teach guys is this frame of mind. I like to call, and this helps both the man and the woman. I call this the selfish pervert frame of mind.
Hmm.
So if
Love
if
that.
Well, originally I came up with this sort of tool to help guys who were having performance anxiety.
Mm,
So men who were, they might be. This usually happens with younger guys. So like
Yeah.
their blood work is fine, their testosterone levels are fine, their blood flow is good. They don't have any cardiovascular problems. They're not an old man who's been smoking and drinking his whole life. Like they should be. Everything should be working fine. But for some reason or another, he can't rise to the occasion
mhm,
with this lady. That would be performance anxiety. Like he's
yeah,
he's in his head, right?
yeah,
And so this was something I prescribed to guys when like really early on when I started teaching, was this concept of being a selfish pervert. And that's two distinct things. And I'll explain why that is. So the perverted side of that is you want her to be like your sexual muse, like she's inspiring your lust, right? And
mhm,
that is what allows you to get aroused as a man in the first place. Now, the second half of the equation, the selfish part, the selfish of the selfish pervert, is to remove any and all like expectations that you have on yourself, to remove any need to perform,
mhm,
because that is what creates the performance anxiety in the first place, is the expectations he puts on himself, the pressure,
Mhm.
the need to perform. Like oh no, what will she think of me if I don't
right,
get an erection? So if you take that pressure away, if you give yourself permission to fail, or you give yourself permission to not even care in the first place,
Mhm.
cool. The selfish pervert, you are aroused and you are free. So then you can enjoy yourself and have fun. And the thing is, like, you are not only will that make sure he gets over his performance anxiety, you're actually more likely to get her off by doing that, because you're taking away the pressure from her. You're not like, you're freer. You're in the moment. You're actually
yeah,
enjoying it. You're not up here in your head. And that
yeah,
helps her to also be not up here in her head and freer and in the moment. And because she knows that you like, if you're in that sort of selfish kind of frame of mind, but also that lustful, perverted frame of mind, you're just like expressing that sexual energy at her. There's no like pressure on her to perform an orgasm as well.
Mhm.
Like
yeah,
that is gone from the equation. So ironically, a guy who has that mentality is way more likely to make a woman climax than a guy who's like, his self-esteem depends
yeah,
upon being able to make you orgasm. That
Yeah.
guy ain't doing anything.
yeah.
He's put way
No,
too
that
much
makes
pressure.
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that also leads into what you were saying before, like understanding what happens to a woman when she orgasms. Right? Well, a lot of men, most
Mhm.
men, I don't want to say that, a lot of men don't even wanna take the time to they're not even gonna notice that.
Mhm.
Like, you're talking about an engorged clitoris, like, they don't even know where that
I don't
is,
even know
number
what that
1.
clitoris is. Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
number 2, taking the time to actually think it goes beyond her what she's doing verbally or whatever her acting, to actually notice,
Mhm.
to actually bother
Mm.
to notice, I think is a big thing to teach men, I think. But, it's like take the time to notice and you'll have a much better time. I like you're saying, don't take yourself quite so seriously that it's a performance.
Yeah, it's a fine line, because I'm like, when I'm teaching guys, because a lot of the guys I'm teaching tend to be like maybe a little bit autistic with it.
Right.
Mm.
Um, so I've had to kind of learn how to teach in a way that I guess is autism proof, and
So funny.
Ah.
which is hard. Because a lot of because like half of what I just said before in my previous rant about like sexual energy and stuff is like, that means nothing to a
Right.
guy who's autistic. That means nothing.
'Cause he
Um,
can't read it. He can't
He
yeah,
can't even
he can't
yeah.
necessarily. He doesn't. Or he definitely. Or maybe. Or even for a guy who doesn't have the experience. Maybe he's not even
Mhm.
autistic. He just doesn't have the experience. What do you
yeah,
even mean, Sterling? When I'm
yeah,
saying like she's
yeah,
present and in the moment and you're not in your head. If you don't have a
yeah.
frame of reference for that, it becomes a lot harder.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
Right.
so there is a balance between like knowing like the technique, the sexual technique, like the angles, what buttons to push, what like where on the clitoris is the most sensitive, like how to move her hips and lift her hips up so you're hitting her G spot, like these little technical details.
Mhm.
You want that sort of baseline skill set, and then you need to sort of stop thinking about it as well.
Yeah,
So
and be in
it's
the yeah.
hard. Like you have to he has to build up the skills so that he can get to the point of like unconscious competence.
Mhm.
So he knows what he's doing
Mm.
kind of automatically, and he doesn't have to think too much about it. Because the more
Mhm.
he's thinking about it, the more you're going to notice that he's thinking about it.
Yeah, and then he can build off of it once he figures out somewhat to do.
But
Yeah,
do you think, sort of going back to the porn thing, that because of OnlyFans, because of porn, because of the accessibility, is that's why we're having to teach this, or have we always should have taught this? Do you see what I'm saying? Have we got to a point where we're having to teach it even though you can see it all the time? Because
that's a really good question because no one's ever asked me that, like asked it that way before. I think we've always needed to know this.
right.
Mhm.
Uh, because of that, like like numerous men tell them like, and it's young men usually tell me like the stuff you're teaching should have been in like sex ed class
I
in
Mhm.
school
agree, it's insane.
because like what do we teach? Like I understand like there's a fine line there. Like I actually disagree with that, but like maybe there's some like post 18 like class I could like get into
Yeah.
teaching.
Continuing education.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like,
not
who
in
teaches
tertiary. You
it?
know what
That's
I mean?
the issue. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
college kids are having a lot of sex, so I might as well be on campus, like being like, "Yo, dudes, like this
Yeah.
is how you should do this properly," and
Yeah.
then you can find a
Yeah.
wife and and not
Yeah.
worry about it. But yeah, I think this is something that like there's always been like those we hear stories of like Casanova back in the day. Like there's always been guys who like really understood the female body, and
Mhm.
then the vast majority don't. Here's a good statistic for you.
Mhm.
So it's something like only 49% of women
Mhm.
have experienced climax with
Oh.
a casual or unfamiliar partner.
Oh,
But
yeah.
when a woman is with a committed long-term partner, that number goes up to something like 75%.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
So there's a degree of like familiarity there, like understanding a woman's body, right? But
Yeah.
the thing is though that as a guy who's had a decent amount of experience with a lot of different women, there are a lot of similarities in the female. Every woman basically has the same plumbing, I like to say,
Mhm.
and so they're gonna have the same kind of buttons to push, the same things that are gonna turn them on, and it's obviously a bit of a spectrum. Like some women are gonna like things a bit more slower and more sensual. Some are gonna like them a bit more rough and tumble, and that's a spectrum, obviously. But the in general, you're doing the same things. So
Yeah.
if
Right.
you know how to please like one woman, you're gonna be like when you get to your next girlfriend or your next partner or whatever, you're probably gonna be like 80% of the way there already anyway.
Yeah.
And
Um,
usually women will tell you what they
Yeah.
want you to do to them once they feel comfortable with it.
once they feel comfortable with you,
Yeah.
and well, that is a challenge in and of itself. Is teaching women how to communicate what they want
Mhm.
Yeah.
from a man without bruising his ego.
Yeah.
That's
Or
hard.
feeling, yeah, also, we've discussed this before because I do think it's a generational thing. I do think that, yes, millennial women can do that, younger women, older women, much harder. We weren't raised to be able to do that.
Mm,
So I do think that that's difficult, and it also depends on the man. And I always think I'm a big one for communication, but it depends who the man is, and will he allow you to communicate? Will he put you down? So if you feel in any way that that man is going to shut you down or make you feel small or make you feel ashamed, well, that's not happening.
yeah.
So that's what happens very, very frequently in relationships is you don't feel you can talk about that. And then too much time goes on. And then it's impossible. You can't suddenly go, oh yes, and I enjoy this after 5 or 10 years,
Yep.
and that happens all the
I'll
time.
I'll give you two different tools right now. This is for women
Mhm.
specifically, to help women communicate in a way that's actually gonna be, productive. The first one is the concept of positive reinforcement.
Mhm.
So, because and this goes into, like, trying to not bruise the male ego, especially, like, in the bedroom, like, that's when, like, men are kinda, like, the most, like, touchy
It's
about,
Yeah.
like
vulnerable.
about
It's your
Very.
feedback,
ultimate
right?
vulnerability. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's for us, it's like, this is the time to show what we're made of, like, this is
Yeah.
this is
You
it,
only have one tool to use. I mean, sort
Yeah,
of, but,
yeah.
like
Well,
So, what you should like, the kinda key it's a bit tricky, but the key thing here is to try and whenever he does something correct, you
mhm.
wanna really latch onto it.
Mhm.
and reinforce that thing with as much positive reinforcement as you possibly
Yeah.
can. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I love the way you pulled my hair that way. I love the way you bent me over that way. I love the way you just took me the other night.
Mhm.
I don't know. I love that stroke you're doing right now with your tongue." Whatever it is, like, when he does the thing, you're like, instant positive reinforcement. Because for
Yeah.
us, like, we men love knowing that we're getting you off. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
we get off on the idea of getting her off. That's exactly why that guy you mentioned, you like the thing you referenced before was when a guy says, like, "Come for me," or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Because we love that. We absolutely like, that makes us feel like the fucking man.
And, like, trust me, I wanna fucking
Oh,
come
yeah.
for you. So it's like, just give me a second.
Well, that's it. That is that is being a man. I mean,
But
isn't that the point? You know?
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. Like, any time he does something positive
Right.
or that's going in the right direction, immediately, like, positively reinforced, because 'cause he'll remember that shit. Like, that'll lock in.
Mhm.
Like, he'll never forget that. But
Funny.
the opposite of that is very important as well. Never positively reinforce something that he's doing wrong
Yeah.
just to protect his ego, you
Yeah.
know? So, like, as an example, like, if a guy is, like, let's say a guy's, like, going down on you and he isn't quite hitting the spot,
Mhm.
and he says something like, "Do you like that?" What do you do? You're kind of in this catch-22. If
Great
you say
question,
I
Yeah.
yeah.
right? If you say, "I like it," then he's gonna keep doing the thing you don't like.
Right. Of course.
If you say, "No, that's horrible, that's awful, that's shit," well,
Yeah.
now good luck getting a boner out of that guy that
Right.
night.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, crap, what do I do?" Here's what you do. You change the location.
Mhm.
So you have to it's called a pattern interrupt or a pattern break. So, like, he's doing something you don't actually directly, like, respond to his question. You would say something like, "Come here, baby, I want you to do me in the shower," or, "Come here, I want you to do
Mhm.
me on the couch." Like, you just change where
Yeah.
you are. So you're breaking, like, the thing he was doing, you're interrupting it and breaking it. So you're not offending him, you're not positively reinforcing it either. You're doing a third option, which is interrupt the pattern, change location, do something else.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the correct way around it.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I'll give you a second tool for women for communicating what they want from their boyfriend or their husband, and this works. Well, this works for both men and women, to be honest, and it's really good for relationships, for long term relationships, and that is utilizing sexting. Like,
Mhm.
Love a
specifically,
sex.
because one of the biggest things, right? Uh, when we're, like, just around especially if you live with someone, you're married to someone, right? You know, live in a relationship. When we're around someone, like, all the time, we start to, like, we start to take them for granted, you know? And that's never good. That's never a good thing. So time apart from one another is actually really powerful. It's one of the most
Mhm.
useful things, actually,
Mhm.
for developing, like, gratitude, for developing and in my line of work, what I teach is to utilize that time apart to build arousal. I call it
Mhm.
closed foreplay.
Mhm.
So you're at work, he's at work. That is actually the perfect time to communicate things that you would like to explore or have him do to you when you are next together. Because
Mhm.
it's a lot like, I don't know about you, but personally, I think it's a little bit awkward being sitting there in front of someone, we're like, "You know what? I'd like you to do this to me. I'd like you to do that to me." It feels like I'm going through, like, a checklist. But if that was done
Yeah.
away from one another via texting, like, I don't know, "I'd love for you to wear that like, if he's texting you, "I'd love for you to wear that piece of lingerie you wore the other night."
Mhm.
Or you're texting back to him like, "I'd love for you to, like, when you walk through the door, just pick me up and throw me onto the couch." Like, whatever,
Mhm.
right? You are not only are you communicating what you want, it's foreplay. So now he
Yeah.
is just thinking. He's now at work. You've sent him this naughty text message. What is he doing for the rest of the day? He has that thought,
Thinking about it. Mhm.
Mhm.
For
So
sure.
now he's anticipating, which is arousing, and like his sex drive jacked up, and the two of you want to rip each other's clothes off. I mean, it's probably not going to stop there. He's probably going to text some naughty shit back to you, and it's going to go back and forth.
Mm.
But now, when you see each other, you want to rip each other's clothes off instead of the usual thing that happens. You both come home from work and you're exhausted,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
like the energy is like down here.
Mhm.
It's much better if the energy is like up here. You two see
Yeah.
each other because you're like, oh, I want to get at her, like that's that's good. That's arousing. That's fun. And I personally think that that is a way. You're doing multiple things at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
arousing. You're keeping each other like excited. You're anticipating. You're creating anticipation around wanting to see each other again, which is great.
Mhm.
And you're communicating things that you want to try out and explore in the bedroom with
Yeah.
your partner. So like you're doing
So
so many things at the same time.
Mhm.
so my friend, let me just give you a little anonymous story from my friend.
Go
So
on.
she we'll get your take on it. So she has been sort of finding it hard to find a guy that because she has like a little kink of like she like wants a guy to be on a leash, sort of.
What?
Wait,
While
On
she
a
like
leash?
she wants to ride his face
I haven't heard
and like
this.
have
Oh, no.
like put a collar on him and like have a leash.
Wow.
Like,
interesting.
while he's, like, eating her out. And so that is very niche, obviously, but
Yeah.
so people who have these, like, niche kinks and things like that, what if, like and, this can happen to anyone, even if someone maybe you just, like your wife doesn't give you blowjobs or anything like that, like, how how do you say this over text without them, like, kind of freaking out, being
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, I don't wanna do that." Like,
Yeah.
"Wait a second." Like, is
And you've
there
never said it before,
right,
and
is
then
there,
all of
like,
a
that
sudden
balance?
Uh, well, this is why I think the text is actually way better because it's if you did that face to face, well, now you're putting them in an awkward situation where they have to be like, are they gonna be? Is he gonna be like, yeah, get the fuck out of here, I ain't doing that.
right.
Like, and then
That's the little things.
she's offended by that, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So he's either gonna be like brutally honest or he's gonna lie if you do that face
Mhm.
to face. This is where I think the texting actually it is easier to add like a little bit of back and forth so he can be like, "Huh, that's crazy." Like, instead of saying, like, just
Yeah,
flat
yeah,
out
yeah.
no, he can be like,
Yeah.
wow, that's interesting." Uh, but for her to communicate that, like, it actually might,
He said that's crazy.
just saying,
Yeah.
yeah, this friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. Friend.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Hey, I wouldn't mind it either, but,
No, but
see?
she has no problems
no
communicating.
problem.
Alright, but what I was gonna say is find an image of that, like a photograph
Ooh,
of that,
Mm,
and send that and she could send that to him instead, and be like,
okay.
"What do you think?" And she could feel it out with him. She could say,
Right,
"What do you think of this?"
right.
So
that's a good idea.
she's not, like, committing the whole way. She's not saying, "I want this." She's, like, throwing it out there and then seeing how he reacts to it first to,
Yeah.
like, gauge.
Yeah.
Is like, is he
Yeah,
Yeah.
responding positively?
100%.
Is he responding, like, negatively? What's his response? And then she can
Right.
take it from there. If his response is positive, I mean, full steam
That's a
ahead, go
very
for
good
it,
idea.
you
And
know?
then with AI, you can create any image you like,
That's true. That is also true.
you know? But
Oh my
the
god.
one thing strikes me when you're talking that's so interesting is that, it's both men and women that need to communicate. It's
Mm,
something we talk about a lot because
Mm.
you talked a little bit about the manosphere before, and I think there's a real blame game going on about who's to blame in the modern world that we live in. It's all, the men are like, it's those bitches, those whores. We see that a lot in our comments. It's all them. It's feminism. It's blah 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 blah. And then the women are like, men are all assholes and blah blah blah. And that's all that happens. Whereas actually, what we keep trying to say is like we're collectively to blame for where we are. And we all need to just take a step back and, figure out what's gone wrong. Where has the communication gone wrong? We both, men and women, if we're talking about heterosexual relationships, need to communicate equally from both sides. And we're equally not doing it well.
I'll
Um,
tell you what's to blame. It's this bloody thing.
Please do.
This is to
oh,
blame.
yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
yes,
That
yes.
no, seriously,
Phone.
that's because we talk about, like, this, this sort of weird fractured dating landscape we've got where, like, you're asking like, we're swiping on apps, we're asking someone to, like,
Mm,
decide in, like, less than a second if they like you or not.
yeah.
That's not how human mating works,
Yep.
Mm,
like, evolutionarily. That's not how
mm,
our brains are designed.
yeah.
So you're appealing to, like, the reptilian brain, really,
Mhm,
when you're doing that.
yeah.
If you're familiar with, like, the tri-brain theory, like, you got reptilian brain, which is, like, the base instincts of, like, hunger and stuff like that, and sex. and then you've got like your mammalian brain, which is about emotions, and then you've got your prefrontal cortex, the human thinking rational brain, right?
Right.
Mhm.
With those apps, and the same goes, by the way, for things like Instagram and TikTok and this, in
Yeah.
when you're incessantly swiping, these are all tapping into like the lower parts of our brain. You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
we're not
And you'll
using we're not using our human part of our brain to
Yeah.
do any mate to decide who we're dating, which is
Yeah.
insane. Uh,
Insane. You're not connecting with anybody. I mean,
no,
we've
and
talked about this, like, with Susie and I many times on because of the generational difference is the way we met in the
yeah,
90s, like, way I met my husband, way we met in the 90s. It was like, you actually went out, number 1.
yeah,
You went to parties, people got people together, people networked. If somebody was single, then you had another friend who knew somebody was single, and e even if they weren't necessarily gonna get together, people found ways of networking, getting people together, and then, of course, the connection happened in real life, as they
yeah,
say now, in the wild, and then everything else happened. The
yeah,
connection wasn't offline and
mm,
then moved into the real world,
yeah,
which actually is insane if you think about it, because how is that, like you said, the human thing is to connect,
yeah.
and that's where everything comes from, that connection.
Like
And you can't see that on a screen.
if you think of how our grandparents met, right? They had this
Mhm.
concept of we used to have this concept which was called the third place. So you'd
Mhm.
have, you have work, yeah, which
Yeah,
like actually you have home, which is the
yeah,
first place, you have work, which is the second place, and then the third place is just a place where people meet. It could have been
yeah,
the town square, it could have been the church, it could have been the
yeah.
community dance hall, a sporting venue, but
Mm,
your community would have had these third places, which were usually free to go to,
mm,
and you'd meet other like families, but other single people as well. And this was especially important for women because
mhm,
as a man, I can look at a woman and see if I'm attracted to her. It
mhm.
happens instantaneously for men,
Yeah,
basically. Now, like that's if we want to sleep with you. Your personality we can figure out over time.
yeah,
But the mating part of it we figure out
mm,
pretty straight away. Women
yeah,
don't like what we're doing now is we're asking women to mate select like a man
yeah.
with
Oh,
these dating apps.
Yeah,
interesting.
that's so good.
That's
Right?
Yes,
crazy.
Whereas
yes.
in the past, think about this for a second. Like, when your grandparents met, they probably didn't hit it off instantaneously. Your grandmother, probably
Mhm,
her, like, she was probably interacting with your grandfather or seeing him
mm,
in multiple different places. She might have seen him on the football field playing some
mm,
football, and then she maybe saw him at church, and then maybe she saw him at like a local dance or something,
mhm,
or maybe like a local farmer's market or something. There was
Sure.
like
mhm,
multiple points of contact, right? So she
Right.
became familiar with him. And then on
mhm,
top of that, she had her community. So like her sisters,
mhm.
her brothers, her father, her mother, cousins, friends of the family, who she could be like, what is Stephen like?
Yeah, he was
He's
vetted, basically. It's a
he,
vetting process.
they all vetted him for her
Yeah,
because
yeah,
my buddy Michael Sartain has this really nice phrase. He's like, women have imperfect information
mhm,
selecting a mate. You don't know if that man is going to commit. You don't know if he's going to protect you in a dangerous
mhm,
situation. You don't know how he's going to handle conflict. You don't know if he's going to provide for you or has the means to provide for you. You don't know what his network is like. You don't know what his career prospects are like. You don't know
mhm.
if he's good in bed. You don't know any of these things, right? When it comes to selecting a man to be with, and that takes time. It
Yeah,
takes time and it takes familiarity, and and it also helps if you have other people who know the guy, who can help
yeah,
fill in in the blanks. So
yeah,
that's how female mate selection is supposed to work.
mm,
That's how it has evolved over millennia, and
100%.
now we're taking that and turning it completely on its head and asking women to select a man instantaneously from a picture.
Mhm,
All the things in the past that men used to do to become attractive to women, right?
mhm,
It was still, it's still like work on your physique and stuff. That's obvious. Like, but they would also, build a network. They'd build a net worth, and then they'd
mhm,
have a good job. They'd have good
mhm,
standing within their community. They'd build all these
mhm.
things up. You can't see any of that through a
Yeah,
screen. So
and
now
nobody trusts it anyway. Yeah.
exactly. So now what
Mm,
we're asking men to, now what, like there's a selection pressure going on. And the selection pressure is for men who are really good at taking a photo of
Yeah.
themselves.
Which is
That's it.
so gross.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's what we're
Mm.
selecting for. We're now
Yeah.
selecting for the guy who is, because you could have two dudes, right? One of
Yeah.
them, one guy could be amazing on paper. He could be a
Mhm.
10 on
Mhm.
paper, but he
Mhm.
is terrible. Is his profile picture is him holding a fish and it's like blurry.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
he
Exactly.
doesn't know how to sell himself.
Yeah.
And then you have this other guy who's like a crypto scammer or some shit, and
Yeah.
he's just got a buddy who's a really good photographer, and he looks
Yeah.
like a 10 on a picture. You're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
the one you're gonna swipe on. You've
Yeah.
got imperfect information, and the
Mhm.
information you do have is heavily skewed towards guys with one particular skill set. And that skill
Mhm.
set has nothing at all to do with whether or not he's actually going to be attractive to you in a long-term
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And the choice is actually, we artificially think it's got bigger. It's actually got smaller.
Mhm.
And we do get this question a lot from a lot of men saying, oh, well, it's easy for you to say that because women get a lot of matches, women get dates, and men don't get dates.
Mm.
But then none of the women are coupling off,
The
so it's not
choices aren't
working. Yeah.
good
The
on the
choices are
apps.
not good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the illusion of choice, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For a lot of women.
Yeah.
I mean, the data around like, like on dating apps, particularly with like right swipes and stuff, is pretty conclusive. Like, I think it takes men's like women match with like a third of their right
Mhm.
swipes
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
average, like across
Mhm.
dating apps. And with men, it takes like the average man takes like 1,000 right swipes to get one match.
Right.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's across the board. That's everybody. That's the average, right?
Yeah.
And then
So
you look at data of like who the women are swiping on,
right.
and how how do they rank men. Like this is all, there's some old OkCupid data that's obviously a bit dated, but the Tinder
Mhm.
data like backs it up, the more recent stuff, where it's like women are finding something like 80% of men, they call them below average looking,
Right.
which
Mm.
statistically makes no sense, right? You can't have 80% being below 50%, right?
Right.
So
Right.
there is some skewed stuff going on, but this comes from female nature. Like this is like got you in the manosphere. The term, like, well, not just in the manosphere, it's become more mainstream now. The term hypergamy, right,
Yeah.
is what describes that instinct, and it is an instinct for
It's true.
women
Yeah.
to like want to kind of date up, to date a guy who's higher net worth at the bare at least, or higher, has a higher social
Yeah.
status or a higher network. But how do you think we've built all this?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what did it. that
Yeah.
that instinct is what allowed us to build Western civilization. So it's not a bad thing. It's just like being hungry is an instinct, right? But in today's modern world, unfortunately, you've got this thing called diabetes, which you didn't have before, because
Mhm.
our instincts as mammals are to look for salt, fat, and sugar as much as we
Mhm.
possibly can, because in our evolutionary past, that kept us alive longer. Now, when we seek those same things out, we're responding the same way our ancestors did, but now it's in such abundance that it kills us.
Right.
Mm.
I like to say there's a lot of women out there now with what I call attention diabetes,
Right.
because pretty young woman gets on her phone. What is her experience probably going to be? On a dating app, she's going to have a lot of guys saying yes to her, and she's probably going to say no to a lot of those. So she gets a bit of
Mhm.
validation by saying no and rejecting a lot of
Mhm.
guys. So there's that. She goes on to Instagram and she posts some nice photos of herself. She's got a fair few guys jumping in her DMs. She's got a bunch of guys commenting on it with like the love heart emoji, like a twat. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, she goes on to like
Exactly.
She goes on a TikTok and she's filming some selfie in her car. She's getting a bunch of dudes commenting there. So, like, this is unnatural. It's
Yeah.
Mm.
unnatural for a woman to get that much attention.
Yeah.
The average woman to get that much attention on a day-to-day basis, because the way her brain works is, in the past, she like attention was correlated with like survival. If
Yeah.
if you didn't get attention from a man, then it means like when a bear came along and ate you, there was no one to like stop it from happening,
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
right? But now we've made society so safe and so comfortable that isn't
Mhm.
there anymore. So the instincts are all still there. Like all the instincts are working like they should do. We've just
Mhm.
changed the rules of the game now. So it's
Mm.
created this really warped situation where the average guy is like can't even like find an average woman to talk
Kind
to,
of, yeah.
let alone get her interested in him.
Here's the truth. No one knows what you want better than you. And honestly, you deserve to give it to yourself. Guybreeder.com is all about men owning their pleasure, their confidence, and their wellness without shame, without apologies. Just premium tools designed for your tool. For men who know what they want and aren't afraid to give it to themselves. Because when you give yourself what you want, you show up stronger, happier, and more confident. Go ahead. You've earned it. Visit Guybreeder.com, that's GUYBRATOR.com, to take matters into your own hands.
Thanks so much for listening. To keep up to date with all our episodes and content, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at Sharing My Truth Pod. For bonus premium content and the really juicy exclusive episodes, subscribe to our Patreon and our premium YouTube. Thanks again, and we'll chat with you next week.